Breaking tonight, explosive new developments involving the Russian lawyer at the center of the controversial June 2016 Trump Tower meeting with Donald Trump Jr. Fox News confirming that Natalia Veselnitskaya met with the Fusion GPS co-founder Glenn Simpson before and after that meeting. Simpson's firm is behind the anti-Trump dossier, which the Clinton campaign and the DNC paid for. So this comes as we're getting a closer look at the former Trump campaign aide Carter Page's testimony as well before the House Intel Committee. And Page claims that Corey Lewandowski knew about a trip that he was taking to Russia. Here's his testimony with Congressman Trey Gowdy. I'm quoting here from the transcript. Gowdy, if you were going to Moscow in July of 2016, who did you tell? Why did you tell them? And what did you tell them? Page, I had mentioned to them, it was Corey Lewandowski and I believe Hope Hicks and JD, that I had received this invitation, and I just wanted to let you know. Gowdy. And how did they respond? Page. So Corey said, if you'd like to go on your own, not affiliated with the campaign, that's fine. But when Judge Jeanine asked Lewandowski about Carter Page back in March, he said this.
I've never met Carter Page. To the best of my knowledge, the President of the United States has never met Carter Page. Carter Page is a person who's going out telling everybody that he was part of the campaign. He had no formal role in the campaign.
So now here's Corey Lewandowski, former campaign manager for Donald Trump. Corey, welcome. Good to have you on the story tonight. Thanks for being here. How do you reconcile those two things?
No, look, there is no reconciliation necessary because it's exactly the same thing that I told Judge Jeanine, which is what I'm telling you. To the best of my recollection, I don't know Carter Page. To the best of my knowledge, Carter Page never had a DonaldTrump.com email address, had no formal role in the campaign that I'm aware of, was never compensated by the campaign. And so when a low-level volunteer decides that they want to take a trip overseas and doesn't report to me or work for the organization, what jurisdiction would I potentially have of telling him or her they can or could not travel overseas? All I was clear about was, if you are going to travel, please do not pretend to be part of the campaign and say that you are part of the campaign because you are not. That's all I tried to say. So, Corey,
you do remember, you say you never met him, but you do remember that exchange. You do remember him sending an email that said, I'm going to take this trip, and you said, fine, just not as part of the campaign. Is that right? You remember that?
Well, no, you have to remember, in the context of the campaign world, now my memory has been refreshed, but to be clear, from what I understand and what I recall, that email was sent on June 19th of 2016, so about 18 months ago. It also happened to be Father's Day on a Sunday, and it also happened to be the day prior to me being terminated from the campaign. So with all due respect, there were many other things on my mind that day other than trying to understand why a volunteer was telling me he may or may not be traveling outside the country.
All right, but in retrospect, you say you do remember, you recall that, getting that from him.
Well, what I recall is now seeing that email has been brought back to my attention.
Got it.
I didn't recall it at the time.
All right. In terms of Papadopoulos, who is now cooperating with the feds, he sent half a dozen requests to members of the Trump team saying that he was trying to arrange meetings with officials in Russia, that Putin wants to host the Trump team when the time is right, he said in April of 2016. He forwarded a note from a Russian official. Putin would like to meet with Trump. Manafort is on record as saying we need someone to communicate that Donald Trump, DT, is not going to make these trips. What do you remember about interactions with Papadopoulos?
Again, as a campaign manager, I wouldn't have had much interaction with George Papadopoulos. I mean, it's possible I met him in passing somewhere, and it's possible he sent me a series of emails. And from what we now have seen from his email exchange, it wasn't just about Russia, but he was asking to meet with a series of people, including the Greeks and the Italian Americans and a number of other people. And this is a person who seemed to have fancy himself as a person who had much more authority in the campaign than he ever had,
let me ask
other
you this.
than being part of what seems to be
I hear you.
One time he participated in a 30-minute discussion, from the best of my knowledge.
So what do you think about the fact that he is, now working with them, and that he could have been an informant for several months after he was arrested back in October? Does this concern you? Are they going to find that there's any connection between anyone in the Trump campaign and him trying to set up any kind of nefarious meeting or even a dumb meeting on his part that he was sucked into because they wanted to use him?
Look, I don't know, but if, from what has been reported, if he was lying to the FBI, and that's why he did a plea deal, because he was arrested for lying to the FBI for not being truthful, then he should suffer the consequences of that. And I am very certain that there is no relationship between me as the campaign manager and Donald Trump as the candidate and George Papadopoulos that would have incorporated collusion, cooperation, or coordination with Russia in any way, shape, or form, to the best of my knowledge. So if he was lying to the FBI, which is a crime, then he should be accountable for those lies.
Understood. I want to ask you about this other issue, which I mentioned in the introduction, which that it's been revealed now that Glenn Simpson, who is the founder of Fusion GPS, who was paid by multiple campaigns over the course of this, but the Democrats at this point in the process, that he saw Natalie Veselnitskaya, who very much wanted to secure this meeting with Donald Trump Jr., and we know now is to talk about repealing a sanction, that he met with her beforehand and after that meeting. What do you make of that, Corey?
Well, what I make of it is, if you listen to Dianne Feinstein, the senator from California, she said, as her professional opinion as the ranking member on the Intelligence Committee, she's seen no collusion or cooperation between the Trump campaign and Russia. But we can't say the same about the Clinton campaign. The Clinton campaign has now publicly admitted that they've spent millions of dollars to a spy overseas, an MI6 former agent, to provide information and money to Russia to produce this dossier. The DNC is part of it. It seems to be that she might have had some cooperation with that through Fusion GPS. And so there's some grave concerns about the Clinton campaign and their ability to funnel money to a spy from Great Britain so they could go and get information from Russia, which included Fusion GPS, of which she seems to have been meeting with now.
Well, the House Intel Committee wants a lot more documents from Fusion GPS. They're stonewalling them on this latest request, and we're going to stay on top of it. Very interesting element to this whole story. Corey, thank you very much. Good to see you tonight.
Thank you.